This is the 11th standard poem I'm going to start. So first you can see here there are many information written. This poem is written by Emily Dickinson, right? And she is a American poet of the 19th century, which means 1800 we can say. Emily Dickinson is a poet in 19th century. She lived a lonely life, and she is living a lonely life, and most of her poems are motivational and philosophical, which means most of the poems are motivational and philosophical. They are unique to her era and are characterized by simple and short lines. So the poems what Emily Dickinson is writing, it's a motivational poem, inspirational poem, it's a philosophical poem, and it's very simple. She is writing a poem in a simplistic way. She often uses slant rhymes, unconventional capitalization, and punctuation. Her poems are the slams and hymns of life in all its shades. Which means overall, if I talk about Emily Dickinson, Emily Dickinson is a poet. Is from 1800, and she lives in America. She is from American poet, and she is famous because she writes a poem in a simplistic way. She is using a language in a simple way, and whichever poem she writes, that is directly talks about the human life, emotions. There is another sky. There is another sky is an inspirational poem with a message of never say die. So this poem what we are going to read now. This poem it is just a message, and that message like never quit or never say die. It is a Petrarchan sonnet with an octave and sestet. So Petrarchan sonnet is nothing but the style of a poem which is having a foreign lines. An octave means 8 lines, sestet means 6 lines. You can see first paragraph is 8 lines, next paragraph is 6 lines. The poet is communicating to her brother through a letter, and she encourages her brother not to get depressed under any circumstances and pleads to him to return home. So in this poem what we are going to read now, we will going to understand that the poet is writing a letter to her brother because her brother is in depression, and she is motivating her brother. Life is full of challenges. One can tackle the challenges with a positive attitude. If you see in this whole life, like what you are living and what I am living, it's a full of challenges. Full of challenges. And if you tackle all the challenges, positive attitude, then definitely you will live this life happily. The poem ends on an optimistic note. The brighter garden stands for choices this life offers to all. I'm starting. There is another sky. Again, I am repeating. This poem is just written. It is just a letter, and this poem is written by a poet, and the poet is writing this message to her brother because her brother is in trouble. Which kind of trouble? The brother is having a depression. There is another sky. There is another sky, which means the street. This, if you see the name of the poem, which means always you have a chance to improve yourself, always and always in your life. There is another sky, ever serene and fair. Right? Serene meaning is given over here, peaceful and calm. So the poet is talking about first two like that and encouraging her brother that brother, there is always another option you have which is fair and which is peaceful, because right now I can see that you are in depression, but you have a option to live in the future. There is always an option which is a fair and peaceful life you will have. And there is another sunshine though it be darkness there. though it be darkness. So the poet is talking about third and fourth line, that there is always an option is there for you. There is a sunshine is there. Definitely there will be a darkness, which means that the poet is talking about there is another option for you. The problem will come there also, but you have to fight. Never mind faded forest Austin. So the name of the brother is given over here, Austin. So the poet is talking about don't focus on the faded forest. The poet is giving example to her brother that don't focus on your problem, your faded forest, which means as a human being, whenever we are having a problem, we are only focusing on problem, we forgot about our positive side. Never mind silent fields. Now the poet is giving example, never focus on forest, which the forest the colors are faded, and never focus on little forest, or never mind silent. Here is a little forest whose leaves is evergreen, which means the poet is talking about that we as a human being, we are more keen and we are more focusing on our problems rather than looking at our positive side. And she is giving example of forest only, like she is saying that don't focus on the faded forest, look at the forest where, like, don't focus on the whole forest, look at the forest which is a little forest which leaves are evergreen, which leaves are evergreen. Here is a brighter garden where not a frost has been. Here is a brighter garden. So here the poet is talking about in the next stanza that brother, look here, it is the garden is so brighter where not a frost has been, where like the flowers are not frosted. Frost means like whenever the flowers are freeze in the winter, in its unfading flower I hear the brighter bee hum. Please, Prithvi means please, my brother, into my garden come. So here the poet is talking about that, like, come into my garden. Here everything is good. Even the insects are happy, and the flowers are not frost, and the not frost. The colors also not went. Please, brother, come into my garden. So this was the poem. So I can say that this poem is so small, but this gives a very, very big message to all of us. And the message is given by the Emily Dickinson that we as humans, we forgot. We forgot to fight or tackle with the problems positively, right? We are facing a problem, we are fighting with the problem, but we forgot sometime, and that is the one of the worst case we have it. So here in this poem, the Emily Dickinson says that her brother is in depression, so she had motivated her brother, come out from the problems, come out, come out from the problems. And you know that, I know that for getting out from the problem, it's not easy. It's very, very tough to get out from the problem. So you can write that, you can write in the appreciation like this only. In this poet, the poet is talking about whenever the humans are in problem, so they have to be come out from that. Thank you for listening me.